What is going on, everyone? My name is Jamon McKinney, but of course you can just call me Juice because that is my nickname. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, into the Juice Alert. If you have not subscribed to the Juice Alert already, be sure to do that right about now. You will not regret it. You can find the Juice Alert on YouTube as well as podcasting platforms. That includes Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that great stuff. If you enjoy this particular episode or the show in general, be sure to leave a like if you're watching here on YouTube. And if you're listening on a podcasting network or platform, be sure to leave the show a good rating and review, guys. It only takes about 20 seconds to do so. It definitely really helps me out right here on the show. And I really would love you guys' honest feedback. You know, do you like the show? Do you not like the show? What do you like about the show? What don't you like about the show? What topics should I talk about and touch on? You know, love to hear all of you guys' feedback. Speaking of feedback, feel free to tag me on social media as well, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can find my personal social media platforms on all three platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also find the Juice Alert, the account for the show, on these particular accounts as well, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You know, the TikTok is basically just me. Like, I post all the clips of the show, you know, on my personal TikTok account. So that's Jamon McKinney on TikTok. But yeah, I mean, I've put all the social media handles in the description of this episode for you guys to maybe jot down, you know, screenshot, take some time to find those and follow me. And also I put them on the screen for you right here on YouTube. Be sure to check me out on social media as well as the accounts for the Juice Alert show itself. And last but not least, check out MLBbro.com. You can find a lot of great content of very talented people covering the game of baseball from an African-American lens and perspective. You can also find some of my content on the TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter page of MLBbro.com. Be sure to follow MLBbro.com and also, you know, share with friends and family if you enjoy. I want to begin the show by discussing the MVP race here in 2023-2024. So the NFL award ceremony is coming up, and look, I don't have a ton of interest in all the other awards, like all Offensive Player of the Year, you know, Comeback Player of the Year award. I mean, these awards are nice and warm and going to be fun to find out who wins them, but I'm most interested in the MVP race. So I want to be very clear. Lamar Jackson should be the rightful winner of the 2023-2024 NFL MVP award. I understand that people are kind of frowning on Lamar Jackson because the Baltimore Ravens ultimately did not reach the Super Bowl. They will not be winning Super Bowl 58. But you got to understand, the MVP award is a regular season award, people. And it doesn't always go to the best player in the game of football, basketball, baseball, whatever you want to talk about, because the MVP award is rehashed every single season. You know, we all know that Russell Westbrook is not a better all-time basketball player than LeBron James, but in the particular season where Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double and had a historic season, I was okay giving him the MVP award over a LeBron James. So you may be wondering and asking, you know, what's the case for Lamar Jackson's MVP award this year? I think he just wins the award, honestly, by default this year, people. Patrick Mahomes, statistically this season, probably his worst year in the regular season. You know, Josh Allen threw 18 interceptions this season. Are we really going to go to bat for Josh Allen, a guy that threw 18 interceptions this year? Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people thought that he was going to potentially have some MVP buzz this year. He got injured. So a lot of the fan favorites and guys that were potentially going to really be in the MVP race, either they got injured or they didn't have the greatest statistical year. And you look at Dak Prescott, I think Dak Prescott is the closest threat to Lamar Jackson as far as winning the 2023-2024 MVP award. And Dak Prescott did lead the Dallas Cowboys to a 12-win season, but only 4 of those 12 wins for Dak Prescott came against winning teams. The Baltimore Ravens, over 50% of their wins were against playoff caliber teams this season, teams with winning records. And we could talk about Brock Purdy and what he did this season, but I saw Brock Purdy and Lamar Jackson play on the same field, and Brock Purdy was at home in that game, and it wasn't particularly close. Lamar Jackson kind of embarrassed Brock Purdy and the 49ers. I understand Lamar Jackson's statistics are not as eye-opening as his first MVP season when he won back in, I believe, 2019. But our job is not to just look at the statistics. If you want to have a real honest football conversation about these awards and how we judge players, don't just be a box score guy. Actually watch the games. Actually add some context to these things. And what you'll find if you actually watched the entirety of this football season, Lamar Jackson was the most consistent quarterback this entire season. And unfortunately, as good as Christian McCaffrey was, I don't think he can get the MVP award because Brock Purdy is also sharing MVP votes with him. Both guys were in the top 5 as far as MVP conversation. So if you have two guys that are top 5 in MVP voting on the same team, can we really say justifiably the MVP of the entire league is actually on that football team? I say no. And again, if Tyreek Hill would have broken Calvin Johnson's receiving yards record for a single season, I would have given him the MVP award because I believe if you have the greatest statistical season of all time for your position at wide receiver, you at least deserve to be in that MVP conversation. And the Dolphins were winning games, but Tyreek Hill did not break the record. When you find Lamar Jackson and this MVP conversation, what you're going to find is Mark Andrews missed a significant amount of time due to injury this season, and it didn't seem to matter because Lamar Jackson, he just elevates the guys around him. He picks up the pieces. He is the most talented runner of the football at the quarterback position we've probably ever seen, and he's not only going to ignite your passing game, but he's going to carry your rushing attack some weeks if you need it. I mean, the Ravens also had some injuries to the running back room. It just doesn't seem to matter because when you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, you can plug and play anybody, and he's probably at least going to make them look serviceable if they're somewhat of a good player, And people can say, oh, Gus Edwards had 13 touchdowns this season. Folks, do you really think Gus Edwards would have 13 total rushing touchdowns this season if Lamar Jackson wasn't a threat to run the football in the end zone as well? So let's not be box score stat nerd, people. And let's actually have a real honest conversation. And what we're going to see is that the Baltimore Ravens have the best record in football this season. Lamar Jackson really didn't have that singular terrible performance compared to some of these other quarterbacks. I understand that Pittsburgh Steelers game was pretty bad, but in that game, there was a lot of drop passes. I really don't put that loss entirely on Lamar Jackson, So Lamar probably has the least amount of blemishes out of all these quarterbacks. And as far as the overall body of work and in terms of actual value to a football team, I think Lamar Jackson more than checks that box. And I think Lamar Jackson is more than worthy of the 2023-2024 MVP award. It will be a second MVP award to his name if he wins it. And that's going to put him under a microscope to eventually win a Super Bowl. Because if you're a two-time MVP award winner, people are going to expect postseason greatness out of you. But just in terms of the regular season, Lamar Jackson, another great season under, a new offensive coordinator. Baltimore really went all in on the wide receiver core, changed the offense, and boom, what do you know? Lamar Jackson goes out there and wins another league MVP. And if Lamar Jackson continues to stack up these type of awards, he's going to really truly climb up these all-time quarterback rankings and truly go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live if he never even wins a Super Bowl. That's the reality, and that's ultimately how I feel, and I think you guys should feel that way too if you're unbiased. So, enough talking about the regular season. I want to talk about Super Bowl 58. What are the 5 biggest storylines heading into Super Bowl 58 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers? Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Is Patrick Mahomes truly on pace to become not only the greatest quarterback to ever live, but maybe truly the greatest football player to ever play the game of football? I think Mahomes is a generational talent. I don't think anyone should deny that. This guy has 2 MVPs in the regular season and in the Super Bowl as well. And I know Tom Brady's resume is at an all-time level. It's the standard in terms of quarterbacks and probably football players in general, because we don't see the longevity out of a guy like Lawrence Taylor that we saw from a guy like Tom Brady. And as good as Jerry Rice was, Jerry Rice didn't contribute to championships as much as Tom Brady did over time. Mahomes has a long way to go, but a third Super Bowl trophy would more than start to put him potentially in those GOAT conversations, and we'll see how far he can climb and go, you know? Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. How far can this dynasty go? If the Chiefs win 3 Super Bowls in a 4-year stretch, they would join only the 1990 Dallas Cowboys and the 2000s Patriots. Right alongside of them would be Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. It will be an astonishingly great accomplishment. And I think the Chiefs are already a dynasty, but they potentially can go from good dynasty to all-time great dynasty if they win a third Super Bowl in a 4-year period. Number 3, can Brock Purdy knock off the ultimate big bad wolf on the block, Patrick Mahomes? Can Brock Purdy outplay Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl? Boy, oh boy, let me tell you, if Brock Purdy goes into Las Vegas, Super Bowl 58, spotlight on him, chips on the line, potential clutch opportunities, and he dials in and cashes in on that opportunity, we're going to have a lot of difficult conversations about Brock Purdy and how good he actually is. And keep in mind, Brock Purdy is still on a rookie deal. So if the 49ers were to win a Super Bowl while he's still on his rookie contract, they can continue to build from the ground up and continue to maybe potentially build towards maybe themselves being a dynasty for the future, because they're a very, very talented team. They draft well, and Kyle Shanahan, as long as he continues to win, he's going to stick around for a long time. Speaking of Kyle Shanahan, number 4, will Kyle Shanahan ever win the big one? Can Kyle Shanahan finally get it done? I understand that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid present an all-time great challenge, because anytime you link up a top 5 coach of all time and a top 5 quarterback of all time, that's a situation where they're going to be hard to stop and hard to game plan for. But Kyle Shanahan gets paid the big bucks for these type of games and these types of moments, and his roster is pretty awesome. I mean, I look all around. The 49ers, they've got Pro Bowlers after Pro Bowlers, run game, receivers, offensive line, defensive line. They're stacked. They're talented. And Jimmy Garoppolo is no longer a scapegoat. You have your handpicked guy at quarterback in Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan. It is time for you guys to collaborate on Super Bowl Sunday and actually get it done. There are no more excuses for Kyle Shanahan. I think these teams are pretty evenly matched. If Shanahan does his thing, then I think the 49ers can definitely beat this Kansas City Chiefs team and put a wrench in the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid dynasty. Last but not least, number 5, biggest storyline of Super Bowl 58, Taylor Swift. Will Taylor Swift have an actual effect on the game? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. See, Taylor Swift has kind of been the good luck charm, quote unquote, for the Kansas City Chiefs. Will she be stealing Usher's spotlight? Because we're talking about Taylor Swift so much, we probably should be talking about Usher a little bit more, because he's the guy that's actually performing at the halftime show. And Travis Kelce, boy oh boy, let me tell you, Travis Kelce, you hit the lottery dating Taylor Swift. She's a billionaire now. She's amazing. And it seems like you guys have a great, genuine, loving, romantic relationship right now. It's very fun to see. It's one thing for your lady to see you perform in a regular season game. It's a whole nother animal for you to perform in front of your lady in the Super Bowl, where everyone is watching. Not only you, but what will her reaction be as well. So Travis Kelce, there's a lot of pressure on you, brother. Can you live up to the hype? I think you're the greatest tight end to ever play the game of football, and I think you have the potential to put on a show, not only for the Chiefs, but for your lady Taylor Swift as well. So Travis Kelce, I'm rooting for your brother, and I think you can put on a great show for the fans and your lady Taylor Swift, who you claim to be your boo right now. And it's great to see. But those are the 5 biggest storylines overall. And also, will we see Taylor Swift in any Super Bowl commercials? Maybe Travis Kelce in a Super Bowl commercial? It remains to be seen, but those are the 5 biggest storylines for Super Bowl 58, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a great, great game. Last year, Chiefs versus Eagles, I wasn't all that excited about that Super Bowl, and it turned out to be, in my opinion, the best Super Bowl ever played from start to finish. That may be a very, very strong opinion and a quote-unquote hot take for some people. I understand a lot of people love that Atlanta Falcons Patriots Super Bowl where Tom Brady made a great epic comeback. People can point to the Eli Manning New York Football Giants Super Bowl upset in 2007 where they beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. People can also point to, Super Bowl 49 where the Patriots shocked the Seahawks and Malcolm Butler had that great interception. I'm naming Tom Brady Super Bowls, which is pretty crazy, down the line. There's a lot of other great Super Bowls, particularly Cardinals versus Steelers. That was another classic. But I think Super Bowl 58 has a chance to be an all-time classic game. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, last pick of the draft versus potential, maybe the most talented quarterback to ever play the game of football, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid versus Kyle Shanahan, George Kittle versus Travis Kelce, the tight end battles, the 2 best tight ends in the game of football right now. It's going to go down in Las Vegas on Super Bowl Sunday, and I cannot wait to see it. And also, I can't wait to see Usher perform at that Super Bowl halftime because I think Usher is excellent as well. So, we got to talk about Brock Purdy, man. Brock Purdy has a chance to forever cement himself in NFL history if he wins a Super Bowl, especially against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So far up to this point of the San Francisco 49ers reaching Super Bowl 58, Brock Purdy has been everything they could have asked for and more. People said at first, Brock Purdy, he's going to be an afterthought, just a game manager, can't really elevate his team in big spots versus good teams. But we're getting more and more data points as time has gone on. And we just saw Brock Purdy in 2 straight playoff games versus Green Bay and Detroit elevate his game under pressure, fit the ball into tight windows, make plays with his legs, and ultimately elevate the San Francisco 49ers in adverse situations as their starting quarterback. No Deebo Samuel in the Green Bay Packers game. He goes out early with an injury. It doesn't matter. Brock Purdy plays well down the stretch and brings them back in a great game. Down 24-7 to the Detroit Lions. People thought, the Lions are going to make an all-time great run to the Super Bowl. Purdy and the 49ers put an end to that, and Purdy played well down the stretch of that game. We can look at this Brock Purdy saga in 2 different ways. Maybe, just maybe, he is getting carried by Kyle Shanahan and a great organization and a great roster. And 5 years from now, we're never really going to hear from Brock Purdy. Maybe that's the truth. Or maybe, just maybe, Brock Purdy is a star in the making and on pace to have a legendary NFL career. Maybe, just maybe. I think that if you're being an unbiased fan, I think you have to bring up these 2 viewpoints. In Brock Purdy's first full season as a starter, if he were to knock off Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl, he's going to go down in NFL history, and that performance will go down in NFL history as one of the greatest performances ever and one of the most inspiring performances ever because Brock Purdy, he was the last pick of his draft class. Everyone doubted him, called him Mr. Irrelevant. It became a meme, and if Brock Purdy goes from Mr. Irrelevant to Super Bowl winner, it will elevate his brand and his overall status in the National Football League. And I think that he would get a lot more respect from the general NFL fan base and just players in general. Now, there's probably always going to be haters saying, no matter what Purdy does, he's going to have to win 5 Super Bowls to prove me wrong. But I'm not in that boat. I'm willing to be wrong about Brock Purdy because at first, I got to admit, I didn't know if he had NFL stuff in him. I liked what I saw early on, but I was like, okay, you still have Trey Lance in the building. I think he's more talented than Brock Purdy. Maybe you roll with him, but it seems like that's proven to be a laughable statement. And it seems like Brock Purdy just continues to keep all these receipts and just prove everyone wrong. In fact, Kyle Shanahan tried to bring Tom Brady out of retirement. And Brock Purdy even told Kyle Shanahan, hey, buddy, what are you doing? Do you not think I can play? I mean, you drafted me. I'm here. Well, what's the problem here, Shanahan? So I'm really, really interested to see how Brock Purdy plays. I think Brock Purdy, as long as the 49ers can call plays to get him settled into the game early, I think he's going to do just fine. And I think that even in adverse situations, if the 49ers are down 10 points in the fourth quarter, I know it's crazy to say this in terms of this Super Bowl 58 matchup between Niners and Chiefs, but I think Purdy has a chance to come back and actually beat this Chiefs team because it seems like Brock Purdy just has a never say die, never quit attitude. And the thing you like to see about Brock Purdy is, yes, he can win when everything is going right, but he's proven as time has gone on, in the small sample sizes we've seen, he can actually elevate in these adverse situations, and he can be a clutch quarterback when it matters. So I think Brock Purdy has a chance to win Super Bowl MVP. I think he's going to play well, and I think this is going to be a back and forth, nip and tuck game between the Niners and the Chiefs. I could see a situation where maybe Purdy is overwhelmed and, the Chiefs just take this one pretty easily, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Purdy is going to play well. I think Christian McCaffrey will show up. I think Kyle Shanahan will coach a very good game. And I think the 49ers defense, led by the Nick Boses of the world, Chase Young kind of lurking in the background, I think that they'll have something for Patrick Mahomes that he may not be expecting. And, we'll see what happens between the 49ers and Chiefs in Super Bowl 58. But all I'm saying is, Brock Purdy, there's a lot on the line for him, I should say, from a legacy perspective. And I think that he has a chance to go down in NFL history if he plays great in this Super Bowl. Last but not least, we got to talk about Taylor Swift. So obviously you all know, if you haven't been hiding under a rock, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are a thing. They're dating. They're a couple right now. They made things official. They are exclusive. And it was pretty obvious. It was immediately going to blow up on social media once everyone found out about it. Travis is one of the most popular players in the NFL. And he plays for arguably the most popular team in the NFL right now. I understand the Dallas Cowboys are kind of America's team. You can kind of maybe throw in the Patriots and the Packers as well. But for the most part, the Chiefs, well-run organization, very, very popular brand. And they're the team that's been getting to and winning Super Bowls of recent over the past 4 to 5 years, And Taylor Swift, she's a worldwide living icon, recently became a billionaire, So there was going to be a lot of buzz in terms of them dating. All I hear from NFL fans is whiny, crying people saying, Taylor Swift gets too much screen time. I'm tired of the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce saga. We need to talk about something else. Boo-hoo! Folks, if you were the NFL and you had a chance to lean into this Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, megastar saga, quote-unquote, this relationship, you would do so in a heartbeat. And you know it and I know it. First of all, you can say Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are annoying, but neither of them asked for this attention. The attention has just been naturally given to them because they're celebrities, And like I said, if you were in a position to embrace the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce relationship and have it help elevate your brand, you'd do it in a heartbeat. You'd be dumb not to do it. Remember when the Toronto Raptors acquired Kawhi Leonard and you had Drake showing up to all their games? Everyone was kind of annoyed with the whole Drake situation. I get it with the Toronto Raptors, but Toronto embraced it. The NBA embraced it, whether it be on social media, the camera crew zooming in on Drake at the games where he's talking smack, because they recognize that Drake's a Toronto guy. He's popular. He's going to bring in revenue. Anyone would do what the NFL and the NBA have done and are doing when it comes to these celebrities, embracing their teams. And football isn't just always about the actual game itself. People sometimes tune in to the telecast. In fact, people are going to watch the Super Bowl because of the commercials to a degree. Super Bowl commercials have been popular for 35 plus years. People are always tuning in saying, oh, yeah, what are the commercials going to look like, you know? And reports are coming out that Taylor Swift has drawn in over $300 million of extra revenue to the NFL. So good for the NFL. You know, she's bringing more attention to the game of football and expanding the National Football League's audience because Taylor Swift, a lot of the Swifties, it's more of like a feminine group. I understand that a lot of males out there kind of like Taylor Swift as well because she's a likable person. And I'll be the first to admit, I've got Sparks Fly on my playlist. You know, I love Enchanted. It's a great song. You know, Bad Blood, where she collaborated with Kendrick Lamar. I love me a good Taylor Swift song. So there's even a lot of guys out there that secretly like Taylor Swift, but it's for the most part a feminine audience. And football is kind of more of a masculine sport, definitely. And if you're going to bring in more people to watch the games, why not bring in the ladies, you know? Because Taylor Swift is going to bring in that lady-like feminine side of a new audience to the game of football. And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, if her and Travis Kelce ever get married, boy, oh boy, that's going to bring in a lot more clicks and a lot more attention to them. And it'd be a great thing to see overall because I love seeing new people find love and get married. I'd hope to get married one day, and I believe I will get married one day and find that special queen. But it'd also be crazy that if that were to happen, eventually one day, I think that it would pretty much pencil in. Taylor Swift would have to be the headliner of a Super Bowl halftime show. It's been reported that Taylor has been given opportunities to have been the headliner of the Super Bowl halftime show in the past, but she wants to potentially have the Super Bowl be in Nashville and perform in front of, you know, kind of her hometown audience because that's kind of the area where she's from. That'd be awesome if they had the Super Bowl in Nashville. And at that point, it kind of just locks in Taylor Swift to be the Super Bowl halftime woman, the halftime performer. And I think that she would accept that in a heartbeat. But overall, I don't understand why so many people are upset with the NFL leaning into Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift because it's an obvious choice. Like, why wouldn't you do it? Why would you not lean into this, you know, saga? And I wouldn't even say drama, but just this headline, this great, fun, genuine headline that Travis Kelce, a fun dude on the camera, fun guy to watch, fun guy to listen to on podcasts, he's dating Taylor freaking Swift. I mean, that's crazy. That's something you tell your grandkids about potentially, you know, one day. Oh, yeah, guys, I remember when Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift were dating, the telecast couldn't get their eyes off of them on these NFL games. That'd be something to really tell your grandkids one day. But overall, I just think that it's a great story, and I don't blame the NFL for leaning into Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's relationship because anyone would do it if they had a chance to, gun to their head, and you know it, and I know it to be true. And by the way, if you have not gotten a chance to listen to Taylor Swift's music, I highly, highly recommend, and I'll leave it at that. Well, folks, that's pretty much all I have today. Actually, I lied for a second right here. We got to talk about some NBA news, and then I'll get out of here and end the show. So, bad news for Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers, to me, sadly, have no choice but to at least entertain trading away Joel Embiid. And I'm being dead serious. Joel Embiid, once again, is going to be out for an extended period of time. This time, he's going to have surgery to repair a torn meniscus in his left knee. And boy, oh boy, I feel so bad for Joel Embiid because he's an ultra-talented basketball player. But it always seems like every time I look up, he's dealing with a major injury. And it's disappointing on so many levels because you hate to see NBA players get injured. And people have pointed to Joel Embiid, including myself, I pointed to this. Joel Embiid's numbers and overall production drops in the playoffs. I would consider him to be a playoff dropper compared to other superstars like, you know, LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, you know, even a guy like Luka Doncic. These guys seem to elevate under pressure in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Joel Embiid, he kind of gets a little bit worse. And I understand playoff basketball is hard, but one of the biggest reasons why I think that Joel Embiid has not put together an all-time great playoff run up to this point is because he's gone into the playoffs almost every single year, kind of hobbled, kind of injured. And the reality is, this is probably going to rob Joel Embiid of another MVP award. He's already won one regular season MVP award, but this season he was averaging 36 points per game and was playing great defense and was going to be the surefire MVP award winner if he just stayed healthy and played games. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen this season. And again, I think when it comes to Embiid, 7-footers that are big, strong, like him, that move and play the way he does, major injuries like this to your body, to your knee, they don't allow you to age gracefully. So I don't know how many more great years of Joel Embiid we're going to get if these injuries continue to add up. And you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, this absolutely sinks their championship odds as far as winning the 2024 NBA Finals. They're going to drop in the standings, no doubt about it. It's one of those situations where Philadelphia, with a healthy Joel Embiid, could have been as high as the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference if they were healthy all year. Now it's a situation where they may fall all the way to the 7th seed. Because I understand that you have Tyrese Maxey, you have Tobias Harris, you have a pretty good team and a great head coach in Nick Nurse. But if you don't have that superstar level player, there's a ceiling on your team just overall in general. But you have to ask the question, why did I say the Philadelphia 76ers should seriously consider trading Joel Embiid? Because here's the thing. Joel Embiid being injury prone, it's a major issue. 7 of his 8 seasons in the NBA, he has missed 15 or more games due to injury. That's bad. That's a problem. Whether you want to say Embiid is injury prone or he's unlucky, it's a problem. He's missing games left and right every single season. He goes into the playoffs, not 100%, trying to play through injuries, and it's something that's a major hurdle to overcome. If your best player every single season is missing games, we're talking 15 to 20 games a season, and he walks into the playoffs around 80 to 70% every single season, that's not good. It's not. It's a situation that's hard to overcome. And even if Embiid recovers this season, like I said, he's not going to be fully healthy for the playoffs. So why not move off of Joel Embiid right here, right now? Because it'd be one thing if the Philadelphia 76ers had already made it to a conference finals or already made it to an NBA finals during this whole Joel Embiid era. But we're 8 years in. We're going to be heading into year number 9, and I doubt the 76ers are going to have reached the NBA Finals at any point during that stretch. So if you haven't been one of the Final Four teams with Embiid, and he's continuing to get more and more injured, and he can't finish seasons out, why on earth should we believe things are going to change? And by the way, you might as well trade Embiid right here, right now, while he still has great value. Because another major injury for Embiid, as talented as he is, some coaches and teams just aren't going to deal with his injury history. That's the reality. So if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, I would seriously consider trading Joel Embiid away, because it's one of those things where you were never close to winning a championship, even with Joel Embiid winning a league MVP and playing great basketball. You were never close in the first place. So if you never were close, it sometimes feels like you got to rip the Band-Aid off. And if I'm the 76ers, I'm in that front office having these difficult, uncomfortable conversations, because Embiid's injury history, it's a real problem, and I don't think it's going to get any better. I hope I'm wrong, but history tells me that I'm not wrong about this situation. Well, folks, that's pretty much all I have today. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Jamon McKinney. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. If you enjoyed, rate and review the podcast. If you're listening on a podcasting network, have a God bless day, everyone. Stay safe. And by the way, if you've listened to the end of this episode, if you've gotten all the way to this point, comment pineapple in the comment section on YouTube, or just tag me somewhere on Instagram or Twitter, or leave in the comment section on TikTok. the word pineapple. I want to see who the real OGs are out there in terms of loyalty to the show and listening in. Have a God bless day. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much. And I'm Ghost.